Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship here with another Velocity Banking review. And the title of this video is I Can't Believe It. This can't be clickbait. This was inspired by a bit from The Simpsons, which I probably should show on a later video about I can't believe they invented it, right? And yeah, so what we're gonna do today is just another velocity banking review. I love putting those clickbait thumbnails while talking about velocity banking. And velocity banking is not the only thing I do, believe it or not. I actually have been playing The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time since last week. And I'm at the Water Temple now. So if you don't know anything about The Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time, the Water Temple is the hardest temple. And I almost beat it without a strategy guide because I could not figure out how to beat the reflection of yourself, aka Dark Link. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, just uh, just forget what I said, and we'll go ahead and start reviewing debt payoff with velocity banking. So what is velocity banking? It's just a debt payoff strategy where you throw all of your money into debt using something called a line of credit. And the first step is creating a budget. So we have the income here, expenses, leftover savings, and then we have our expense breakdown, which is every single debt, or in our breakdown, we list every single debt that we have, right? Because it's a debt payoff strategy. And then the very last item, we have our general expenses that are not tied to debt, the things that we always have to pay for, right? Food, gas, insurance, all that other good stuff. And when we do velocity banking, what we do is we take the same income, right? And the same expenses, right? And then we don't save money. Okay. So a lot of times you might ask some of your friends, family, like, hey, what would be better if I save $700 a month or if I save zero? And they'd be like, you should save that 700. What if you need in case of emergencies? Well, that's what we have lines of credit for. So if we take a look at this, this is how my checking account looks like. Money comes in and money goes out. And so when money comes in, okay, money comes in, we treat our money or in our checking account like the middleman. The checking account is the middleman, not the final destination, right? Yet most people treat the checking account as the final destination, and that's not what we're going to do. Money comes in and it just goes right out. And it's going to go into something called a line of credit. So, what's a line of credit? It's basically a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay back, and then use it over and over again. And if you take a look right here, this is my $373,500 home equity. Okay, home equity line of credit. So basically, just think of your house as like a giant credit card, but that you can use to pay anything and everything you want, right? You can even use it to pay its own bill. Really cool. And so what we're going to do is use this as quote the final destination, aka our main operating account, and we're going to increase something called our cash flow right here. So C2 minus C3, so this is $720 of cash flow, and it looks the same as the savings, right? But remember, difference here is that we're not going to save the money, right? But here, savings and cash flow are kind of treated like the same thing in the average, quote, average American style of banking. And also, what we're going to assume is we have access to a line of credit, right? Maybe $100,000. And did you know that a credit card is also a line of credit? But you want all types of lines of credit. You want credit cards, you want personal, you want home equity, right? You don't want to limit yourself to one because each has its own advantages and disadvantages. So even using a 30% credit card may have its own advantage over a 8% home equity line of credit in the appropriate instance, right? And I have over $739,000 in lines of credit. Top 0.01% of the population according to ChatGPT. I don't know if that's true or not, but I have over $739,000 in lines of credit, and you can see right here, it's all of them. Boom, 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 bang. And here's the secret to getting all these lines of credit is that banks don't lend money to people who need it. So I just always went to a bank when I didn't need money, right? And then eventually I got all these lines of credit, and that's what happened, right? So banks don't lend money to people who need it. No, no, they do not. Okay, so they don't they don't do that. All right, so yeah, so let's go ahead and go here. Now we're gonna assume we have a free and clear line of credit, right? Now, if you have all this debt and you try to get a home equity line of credit, it might be difficult to get one because they're thinking like, hey, you need money, and we don't want to lend you money if you need it, right? That's not how a bank typically works. Oh, alarm went off. Hold on, I'll be right back. I got some stuff to do, but I'll pause it, so I'll be back in a jiffy, right? Okay, I am back, and I have no idea where I left off, which happens. Anyways, no worries. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to move some of our debt into the line of credit and assume we have a free and clear one, which is not realistic because, like I said before, banks don't lend money to people who need it. And yeah, they don't. But the reason we demonstrate with the free and clear line of credit is because it's an easy, clean demonstration. And it's kind of like, if you knew the strategy before ever taking on debt, you wouldn't really be here. And if you want a more realistic scenario, I put that behind a 99-cent paywall, 22 debts. 22 debts, okay? $4 left over. You should check it out. It's amazing. You watch that, you get a PhD in velocity banking, honorary PhD. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to calculate something called the cash flow index. So basically, it's the balance divided by the payment, right? Balance divided by the payment. And all it is a ranking system of moving the debt, or I'm sorry, moving of which debts you should pay off first, because the higher the number, the less bang you get for your buck. So if in order to pay off this mortgage, I have to pay $270,000 to get $1,100 back in payment, which is unacceptable. So what we're going to do is we're going to move these credit cards into the line of credit. So it's 5, 8, 15, 27, because they have the lowest cash flow index. And then you see right here, it's 55,000 that we're going to move into a line of credit, 55,000, and then blam, 00000. Whoopsie, not the auto loan, not yet. And then you see that now we went from $720 of savings to $2,497 of cash flow per month, right? So pretty good, right? Am I right? Right? So right. Who am I thinking of? Matthew McConaughey? No, is all right. Is that Matthew McConaughey? I can't remember. But that's what happens when you pay off debt. It's just you don't have to remember things. In fact, I heard this saying a long time ago that the way that you know you're rich is if you go to a store and you pay for things and you can't remember how much they cost, right? It's like, whoa. Yeah. All right. So, final step is you put your entire paycheck into the line of credit, you take your expenses out, and then rinse and repeat over and over again. And then after every single month, the balance of the line of credit goes down by whatever your cash flow number is. So it'd be 2 plus H2 minus 2497.83. And then what we do is we take the average daily balance, multiply it by the interest rate, and then divide by 12. And then I'm going to copy and paste this. And then we see that in 24 months, it's all paid off, right? 24 months. So 24 months, and that's going to be 55K of debt. Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste here. And then, okay, the auto loan and the mortgage. So I'm going to do this, and then this is going to be, let me see, what month? 24 months. We have this loan calculator that shows us the current balances based on the month. And then you can see right here that this is the one that I should pay off because it has the lowest cash flow index. And so what we're gonna do is move this 12 grand into the line of credit, which we will do, which is the auto loan. And now I'm just do this. Plus 12416.69, which is the current balance of the auto loan. And then if I do this 0 right here, then this is $2,861.67. As you can see here, let me just do this. So 2861.67. And then I'm going to copy and paste. Whoopsie. Our new cash flow, and then wablam, 29 months. Okay. So 29 months, the auto loan is paid off, and 55 plus 20, and then that's 75K. And then now here, $270,000 mortgage at 29 months. What's the balance? Okay. And then so at this point, you decide, hey, do I want to focus on paying off the mortgage or do I want to maybe tackle on a little more debt to get income generating assets, right? I would never use debt to get income generating assets until most of my personal debt is paid off, right? So if you don't have any debt, and you're in a pretty good position if you don't have any debt, right? So, um, I would rather do that. And in fact, like if you have a lot of debt and then you try to buy income generating asset, I think there's a lot of checks and balances to prevent you from doing that. From a lender's point of view. So again, two options. We pay off our debt entirely for this mortgage or just keep it and then we have an income generating asset. I'm just going to be lazy because I want to go back to playing The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And so we have two options, which is we just dump all of our money into the mortgage or we use a line of credit. Either one is fine. The thing that I just want to quickly show is that a lot of times people freak out because they're like, oh my goodness, the line of credit interest rate is so much higher than the loan interest rate. And yeah, that is true. Okay. So if I go ahead and move the entire loan into the line, you could see that we only saved about 39,000 in interest, which is kind of bad, right? Like you might as well dump all your cash into the line. However, if we use something called chunking, which is just moving a piece of the loan into the line, right? So 6,000, we see that it makes a tremendous difference. And so, you know, even a 30% credit card will actually beat moving the entire loan into the line. And so, you got to be really careful about that. And so let me just kind of do this, which is 8%. And so we see that it pays off in 5.9 years. And yeah, this is 0. This is 29 over 12 plus 5.9. And then that's 9.98 years debt free. Now, normally we're debt free in like 7, but this is kind of I kind of like to use it. The more you have bigger numbers and more like credit card debts, the mortgage gets paid off a lot quicker usually. And if you have a higher purchase price and a low interest rate, that's actually worse. Like you want a low purchase rate price and a higher interest rate. So I don't know if you ever heard of like how in the 80s, like the interest rates were like in above 10%, like 12 or 13 or 14 or something like that. And the reason why it was manageable because the purchase prices of the homes back then were so much cheaper than they were now. Like, who cares about getting a 3% interest rate if the price of the home is like $1 million, right? Right. All right. So that's it for today. 9.98 years. So hopefully I'll beat Zelda at the Ocarina of Time, probably by, I don't know, the end of the week, but might as well crank out another velocity banking video. And yeah, that's it for today. All right. Well, have a great day, folks. Atlanta mentorship, only 13 minutes. So it's 13-minute video, folks. Not that long. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.